The call on the field is upheld, hit by pitch, batter's rewarded first base.
There you go. So not. Sometimes the verbiage there is important. He didn't say confirmed. He said upheld.
Yeah, and the fan's not happy, and you can imagine why. But it's just one of those things where there's not enough evidence. If it would have been called the other way, I'm not sure they could have overturned it that way either.
And you're correct. It's important what the call on the field is initially. So Georgia now, a great opportunity right here with 2 outs. If they get a base hit, to break the game open early as Lindy Ray Davis, a junior and a left-handed batter, steps in. She's getting a start today, did not start last night. Hits one towards the gap. This will drive in at least 2. It could drive in 3. No, stopping at third is Gordon. Lindy Ray Davis comes up with her first hit of the series, and it's a huge one for Georgia, their biggest hit so far of the weekend.
Yeah, great hit by Davis, just puts it in the gap, but I think a great play by Sacco as well. The slide and the throw might have limited Gordon from getting home and forcing her to stay at third, but nonetheless, the bats have come in to game 2 hot for Georgia.
Georgia has scored 3 runs in the first inning, all with 2 outs. They've been aided by a couple of hit-by pitches. A Mosley double scored the first run. Goodnight led off the inning with a bunt single. And everything's working Georgia's way. After not scoring anything in 7 at-bats last night, they've scored 3 runs in their first at-bat this afternoon.
Yeah, only a total of 2 runs from the entire game last night, and they've matched that and then some today. And you had to imagine after that loss last night, they'd come out with a little bit of fight, especially as you end the season. You don't want to lose a series in the last week of conference play, so it feels like there's a little bit of fight and a little bit of push in this series for both of these teams.
It's a big one right here today for both sides for multiple reasons. Yeah, you want some momentum as you end the regular season. You are playing, both these teams are, for seeding for the SEC tournament next week. But bigger picture, Georgia trying to make sure they stay as a favorite to host a regional, and perhaps with a win today and tomorrow, they could sneak into being a top 8 seed and be in a position to host both weekends should they advance. And for MSU, they're thinking, hey, we got a weekend of 3 games against a top 10 RPI team. If we can win multiple games, we might host, as Edwards snags one right off the bat of Digby, and that will end the inning. But Georgia scores 3 runs on 3 hits. They have the lead early. Now Georgia off to a hot start today. They're on top by 3 as Sierra Sacco will lead things off for State. And there you see the Bulldog lineup today. Sacco, Barbary, Kennedy, followed by Cook, Wesolowski, and Edwards. Then Brownlee, Wallace, St. Clair. There's a ball bounced out too short. Throw to first, not be in time. Slapper. 101 type of lesson right there from Sierra Sacco to get State on the bases.
Yeah, and absolutely nothing Armistead could do. You take a look at it, just bounces it in the dirt and has to wait for it to come to her. And the speed of Sacco, able to beat out the throw at first. That's textbook for Sacco as a leadoff hitter.
Sacco's first hit of the weekend, but her 47th on the season. She and Barbary tie for the team lead. Speaking of Barbary, she'll hit one out to right field, and Kearney ranges over to her right and makes the catch for out number 1. A quick out there for Georgia. Starting pitcher today for Georgia is Shelby Walters, a senior right-hander. ERA of 3.25, record on the year of 8-6, as Kennedy, the slugger for Mississippi State, is up at the plate for the first time today. Fouls back the first one for strike 1. collected her 16th home run of the season last night. Snap throw to first, and getting back to the bag is Sacco. Georgia has not had to defend Sacco on the bases yet this weekend. She is a very good base runner, 19 for 19 in stolen bases this season. Down and in, and a hitter's count now for Kennedy as she's worked the count in her favor, 2 balls and a strike.
And you wonder if Sacco is going to challenge and try and steal second. Gordon being patient on the throwback to Walters after the pitch, and curious if Sacco decides to try anything.
That ball was a bit of an odd. I mean, it technically hit the bat, so it's going to be a foul ball. The count's going to be 2-2. It's a tough break for Kennedy. And now she'll swing and a miss. Wow, great job by Walters to come back. She was behind the hitter, Kennedy. And then a couple of, swings from the Bulldog slugger, and she strikes out.
Yeah, you take a look at it, and looks like Kennedy tried checking it at the last second too, but just a little too much power behind the swing and went basically all the way around. Just an unfortunate series of events.
So now there are 2 gone with Sacco on at first base still as the senior Paige Cook. So back-to-back seniors for Mississippi State here in the top half of the lineup. Kennedy and Cook both were honored in pregame festivities. And again, Gordon is just trying to bait Sacco into doing something there on the bases.
Gordon wants her to steal. She wants to see if she can beat her to second, and I'm getting to the point where I want to see it happen. Let's see who can get the best of each other.
Cook fouls one back for a strike, and the count's now 2-1. This is the 14th start, but 33rd appearance in the circle for Shelby Walters this season for Georgia. Number 48 has been used primarily as a reliever. Cook again on a high velocity pitch, fouls it back, and now the count evens up 2-2. Walters has thrown 95 innings on the year for Georgia. Change of speeds there and a good take by Cook. Now the count's full. Cook hitting .291 on the season as she makes her 44th start of the year. Punches one right off the chest of the first baseman Digby. Going from first to third is Sacco. Georgia throws back to first. Cook has to dive back to the bag. And State's got runners at the corners. Another 2-out hit for Cook. And she's had a lot of those in her career.
Yeah, and something you feel like should be fielded, but that is a powerful hit ball straight to Digby, and tries to field it, not able to, and advances the runner, keeps the inning alive. Let's look at it again. I mean, just hits the dirt right before it makes her way to Digby, and nothing she can do about it.
And that will be scored a hit. And I agree with that. That was not a routine play at all. So runners at the corners for Ella Wesolowski, who takes that one outside for ball 1. Wesolowski, a freshman from New York State, has had a really good true freshman campaign. .336 batting average. That one's downstairs too.
Just continued to get better as the season has gone on. I mean, I usually see averages dip in conference play. As a freshman, hers has risen significantly and then has kind of hovered in between that 320, 360 average zone. And it's been really impressive to watch her this year. She has progressively gotten better.
2 runners on, but 2 gone. And a 2-0 count to Wesolowski. That's going to be high, ball 3. The early sample size is that today's strike zone will be a hitter-friendly strike zone. That catches the outside corner, and as you'd expect, Wesolowski was taking. Right, there's a prime example of the almost mandatory expanded strike zone on a 3-0 fastball. Wesolowski has to hit that one at the last second. An off-speed pitch, and it will be fouled back and out of play. So a big moment right here. A full count with 2 outs, 2 runners on base. State trying to answer after Georgia scored 3 runs in the top of the first. Grounded, just foul. Third base side will do it again.
Kind of got her in towards the hands. I'm not sure if she would have held off. It would have been a walk, would have been close, but just was able to get it right into her hands and make life a little bit difficult, but able to keep the at-bat alive.
2 on base, 2 gone. Walters facing Wesolowski. Downstairs, bases are loaded. Georgia had the bases juiced and cashed in their first at-bat. State now attempting to accomplish the exact same thing.
And I believe Georgia did it with, scored all runs with 2 outs as well, so similar situations. You take a look at the pitch, just a hair outside it looked like, and a little bit of deja vu from the top of the first.
In the home half of the first inning, in my opinion. So timeout was called. Georgia met with the battery and the entire infield. State's coaches met with the batter, the on-deck hitter, and the runners on base. 3 on the bases. Sacco, Cook, and Wesolowski. Edwards is the hitter, and Edwards has been one of State's hottest hitters as of late in conference play.
Yeah, can kind of do just about anything you need her to do. I mean, defensively, offensively, if you need her to go long, she has that ability too, and wouldn't that be something the crowd would like right about now?
That ball is right off the handle, and it's fouled off to the right side. So quickly, Edwards is behind in the count, 0-2. You've got Wesolowski on at first, Cook on at second, Sacco on at third. Walters trying to get out of a jam here for Georgia. Downstairs, good take by the freshman Edwards, and the count's 1-2. Edwards, a really good hitter on the year. Hits one high into the air, should be caught in right field. Coming in and making the grab is Kearney. State that it feels like summertime.
Got a couple of umbrellas that way as well. I mean, it's toasty day out. I mean, a lot of bucket hats to protect yourself from the sun. So, I mean, you get it. It's warm out.
Ellie Armistead will lead things off. Exactly 80 degrees right now. Should be 84 by the time the ball game comes to an end here in a couple of hours. Big time swing and a miss there from Armistead. And she has the count even at a ball and a strike. Armistead, then the top of the Georgia lineup. Goodnight and Goodwin. And then we'll see Kearney at the plate if anyone reaches. Showing bunt and then missing it is Armistead. And now she's behind in the count, 1-2. A lot of stuff happening on the MSU campus and in Starkville today. You had, as Armistead swings and misses, and Marin makes fast work of Armistead to lead off the top of the second. You had earlier today, well, let's see the strikeout first.
I think that's good work from Marin as well. Nice little drop ball, but tough first inning, and you come back and respond like that. That's exactly what you want to see out of your starting pitcher.
And now the top of the order is back up. Goodnight, who had a bunt single to get that top of the first going for Georgia, is back at the plate. There you see, 1 for 1 today with a single and a run scored. Has upped the average to 353. Swing and a miss. Count evens up. The Starkville Derby started earlier today.
9:30.
9:30. It wraps up all the festivities downtown in Starkville today. Wrap up here in about 2:30 this afternoon, local time. Swing and a miss. And Marin right now really keeping Goodnight off balance. Counts 1 and 2. So Starkville Derby, which if you're not aware,
It's one of the coolest things.
explain what the Starkville Derby is. Today, of course, is Derby Day in Louisville, Kentucky.
It is, we get races from wiener dogs downtown. It started last year. People loved it, so they brought it back again this year.
The second annual Starkville Derby featuring dachshunds, right?
Yes. And I believe,
AKA wiener dogs, racing each other. Do they have like age divisions?
that I'm
or-
not sure. I do know that I believe they called it their Grand Marshal was Josh Hubbard. So last year they had Chris Jans doing it.
This ball lifted into left, it drops in. Goodnight is now 2 for 2. She slapped down a bunt her first time up. This time she drives one the opposite way for a single. And Goodnight having herself a good day so far for Georgia offensively.
Yeah, and right when it felt like Josie Marin was going to respond, Goodnight just able to get a piece of it and get it right over the heads of the infield and to drop into the outfield. And that's how a lot of the hits for Georgia have been today.
Ground ball grabbed nicely by Kat Wallace. Had to deal with some traffic in front of her. Did a good job to maintain her composure, get the out at first base for out number 2.
Yeah, good recovery. For a second, you weren't sure if she was going to be able to make the play in time to first, bobbled the ball a little bit, and eventually able to gain her composure and make the throw, and gives her team out number 2.
Kat Wallace, a senior, is a really cool story. When she first got to Mississippi State, she was one of the team managers. Was not on the roster, not even as a walk-on, and then was invited to essentially try out to become part of the team, earn a spot as that ball gets past Barbary. Throw home is cut off, and Georgia, once again with 2 outs, manufactures a run, and they increase their lead to 4-0. Georgia doing a much better job with 2 outs. They're going to score that an error on Barbary as Kearney put the ball in play and was rewarded for it. And now Mosley steps up with 2 gone, but a runner on at first base and a 4-0 Georgia lead. Goodnight scores. Well,
I think you and I are looking at the same thing right now.
Yeah, it's going to call it a hit. So at the moment, they're going to score it a hit. So give Kearney credit for an RBI single. Barbary this time makes the play and throws the first in time. The out is recorded. One more run, though, on back-to-back on Saturday on the final weekend of the regular season. So Brownlee fouls back the first pitch from Walters. Strike 1. Brownlee has made the most of her plate appearances so far this year, hitting over 320. A native of Houston, Mississippi, takes one down and in, and the count evens up at a ball and a strike. If either Brownlee, Wallace, or St. Clair can reach, the top of the MSU order is due back up to face Walters. Here in the bottom of the second, as Walters misses off the plate to the outside against the right-hander Brownlee, and the count's 2 balls and a strike. Brownlee, slow roller foul first. either hit off the foot of Brownlee or hit in the batter's box before it rolled out to shortstop.
And pitch just rising up where her hands are. It makes it difficult.
The count's even at 2. Got her at the knees. Brownlee does not agree. The crowd doesn't either. That's a strike. It might have moved off the plate to the inside a bit, but with 2 strikes,
Yeah, it's
you got to swing at that, right?
at the knees. Might have been a little inside. You understand why they're upset about it, but
And perhaps it's not so much where the ball was, but has that ball been called a strike earlier in the ball game or not? But the game moves on, and the count is now at a ball and a strike. Upstairs, taken by Kat Wallace. Wallace getting just her second start of the year today. Has played, though, in 33 ball games. Looking for her first hit of the year on senior weekend. Hits one down the line, but foul. She almost got the bat around fast enough there. Instead, the count will even up at 2.
thought she might have had it too if it would have been fair. I'm not sure anyone's getting there in time, but gives herself an opportunity to do it again. And wouldn't that be something? First hit of the season on senior day. That's something cool.
That would be a storybook type of moment, would it not?
Especially the way her career has been. I mean, it would be neat.
From team manager to a spot on the roster to getting a start on the final weekend of the regular season for a top 20 team. And again, she'll stay alive. Fouls one back into the stands. Nice catch by a fan down to our right. That MSU dad made the grab. The 2-2. Wallace hits one, but it should be caught in left. Gave it a ride, but Goodwin will squeeze it for out number 2.
Left fielder, number 12, Briley St. Clair.
And now another MSU senior, outfielder Briley St. Clair, will step in for the first time today to face Shelby Walters. She takes strike 1. St. Clair, the senior from Sand Rock, Alabama, batting .240 on the year, hitting 9th in the order. And that ball is going to catch the outside corner. Well, the strike zone seems to have expanded some here in the second inning.
Kind of thinking the same thing. It feels like these either Walters or that strike zone is given some issues right now, and I think you're right. It feels like the strike zone has gotten a little larger.
The 0-2. Not a bad 0-2 pitch. And a good take by St. Clair. St. Clair's made a name for herself on social media to the point where she actually has received some awards from some NIL groups as being a positive social media influencer for student athletes, using her NIL to draw attention to some positive platforms through her social media presence. Hits one the opposite way and out of play to the left to stay alive. Has used the opportunities the student athletes now have to actually generate real NIL. A good take right there, so now the count's even at 2-2. Hits one. Oh, nice grab in the top of the third. Leading off the inning for Georgia, the number 5 hitter in the lineup, Kuma. She's followed this half inning by Gordon and Davis. Then Digby will step back up to the plate if anyone can reach base. That ball drops in there for a strike. Sydney Kuma was hit by a pitch and scored her first time up in the first today against Marin. Foul tip. We're going to do it again as Kuma stays alive. 0-2 the count.
And you wonder when Mississippi State is going to have that breakthrough inning. It's not like Marin has played bad, just a couple of unlucky bounces, a couple of hit batters, just some unfortunate plays, and that's why Georgia has been able to jump out to a 4-0 lead, on top of the fact that they're not really getting under the ball either when they make contact. They're just hitting it right to where it gets over the head of the infield and lands in the outfield and allows them to get bases.
Ground ball sharply hit. Edwards at short throws to first just in time. Got her by a step. Good speed up the line towards first from Kuma, but the out is recorded 6-3.
And that's a throw that Edwards usually makes with a little more zip on it. Didn't have as much this time, and might have been holding your breath a little bit on that throw to first. I was watching it and wasn't entirely sure if it was going to get there in time.
Swing and a miss from the catcher, Sarah Gordon, who also was hit by a pitch her first time up. That was the somewhat controversial play that had to go to a replay review. It was ruled that she was indeed hit by the pitch. That call got Georgia with a bases loaded situation, and they cashed it in eventually with a 2-out, 2 RBI double. The 0-2 wasted downstairs. Good block by Wesolowski. Before going to break, you and I were talking about the social media presence for Mississippi State outfielder Bradley St. Clair. And I believe on Instagram it's over 150,000 followers.
Correct.
But on TikTok,
Try 236,000 followers with a combined 2.6 million likes.
hey now, 2.6 million. Oh, that's gonna ball. That ball had eyes on it, didn't it? Bounced right in between Barbary and Edwards. Just a wicked hop twice.
Yeah, and this is something we briefly touched on a couple of moments ago. All the bounces are going right for Georgia right now, and just right over the glove of Barbary at third. Nothing she can do about it. Saw something similar the inning before, which scored a run, and it's happened again to her here in this third inning. But if you recall in that second inning, right after it happened, came back and made a play immediately on the next batter.
Lindy Ray Davis steps up for Georgia. She had the big double to score 2 runs. Actually, a single that scored 2 runs for Georgia her first time up. And she again gets a base hit. Pulls one into right. Stopping at second base is Gordon. Back-to-back base hits. Gordon into left, Davis into right. Georgia's in business, 2 on, less than 2 outs.
Yeah, and they're not doing anything special per se either. Just little, they're just finding the gaps or hitting it right over the heads of the infield. And when you have 7 hits and you're doing that, you put up 4 runs on the board. It's a formula that's working for you. Stick to it.
Digby steps in, a swing and a miss for strike 1. Nothing has been easy for Marin in the circle today. Georgia's had a really good approach against her so far in the first 3 innings. That ball fouled straight back behind home plate. Marin getting out in front of the hitters, but just has not been able to get key outs in key moments so far.
Yeah, it all started in that first inning. I think it was 4 consecutive batters that she got out in front with an 0-2 count that either led to a hit by pitch, and then after all of that happened, it started scoring runs.
Look at that big moment right there as Marin gets her 3rd strikeout of the ball game, throws Digby on a breaking ball.
And she's had her fair share of opportunities for strikeouts as well. We just mentioned it, getting ahead 0-2, and finally capitalizes on that at bat. You'd love to see her get going right about now, though. I mean, this game's still within reach. You're only down 4, and you've still got the majority of the game left. So get her in some sort of rhythm and see if that offense can get going as well, because you know what that Mississippi State offense can do when their bats get hot.
Georgia will use a pinch hitter here in the top of the 3rd with 2 on and 2 gone. Jaden Fields will pick up a bat and will hit in place of the 9-hole hitter and shortstop Armistead. Ground ball. Barbary picks it up, throws across in time. Good recovery by Barbary at 3rd, and State gets out of the inning. Georgia leading off the inning for Mississippi State is State's leadoff hitter in the lineup, Sierra Sacco. Sacco had a base hit her last time up. Was left stranded, though, at 3rd base. Slaps one deep to the hole at 2nd base, throw to 1st. Gets there in time. Nicely done by Kuma for out number 1.
And similar to what she did her first at-bat, except to the opposite side of the field. And if she does that same exact thing again, except to shortstop, she probably is safe once again just because of the throw, the distance. Just an unfortunate hit this time for Sacco.
So no one on and 1 gone as Sacco is retired for the first time in the ball game, and Nadia Barbary steps up and she aggressively takes a hack at the first pitch and pulls it foul for strike 1. Barbary leads the team with 17 doubles on the season. She has almost twice as many doubles as Paige Cook, who is 2nd on the team with 9 doubles. That ball comes up and in, almost hits her. And the count evens up at a ball and a strike to Barbary, who flew out to right her first time up today. Slow roller. Shortstop ranges over to her left, gloves it, and Armistead throws out Barbary at 1st, and there are 2 gone.
Yeah, and Mississippi State being down by 4, it feels like it'd be a good thing to come into the inning at the top of your lineup, see if you can get some base hits, and then you have Madison Kennedy come up who's a deep ball threat, and just a quick 2 outs. It's not what you wanted to see from this Mississippi State offense. But credit to Georgia and their defense, and Walters, her pitching. I mean, it felt like they were going to come out today and really fight for that win, and through a couple of innings, they've done just that.
Madison Kennedy at the plate right now for State, trying to see if she can get on base for the first time in the ball game. Struck out her first time up against Walters. Hits an off-speed pitch, foul for a strike, and the count evens up. Yeah, so far in this one, Georgia doing all the little things right.
Yeah, they're also having some bounces go their way that Mississippi State hasn't had, and it's just been a combination of everything, and just they came out really hot in that first inning and has kind of fed off it throughout.
Kennedy pops it up on the infield. 3rd baseman Mosley calls for it, and she makes the grab inside the circle. 3 up. hoping their Bulldogs can get back in the ball game as Georgia is up at the plate trying to increase their lead. They'll have a good part of the lineup due up. 1, 2, 3 in the order. Goodnight, Goodwin, and Kearney, who between the three of them have 3 base hits already in the ball game, including Goodnight, who so far is 2 for 2. Has singled twice and has scored half of Georgia's runs. A single in the first and the second. Hits one foul, first base side. Counts the ball and 2 strikes. The 2 hits today give Goodnight 37 hits on the season, as she gets closer and closer to that 40 hit mark on the season. Ball comes in and just misses off the inside corner. Nice idea though with 2 strikes. Good take by Goodnight. Count evens up at 2. Hard hit ball towards center field. Diving Sacco can't get to it. This will be at least 2, could be 3, but stopping and falling down is Goodnight, and she's able to barely get back to the bag at second. The Dirt Monster reached up and tripped her between second and third base.
Yeah, and Mississippi State had an opportunity to take advantage of this. Sacco lays out, can't get the catch, and St. Clair on the relay throw goes 3 instead of 2, which she should have, but just unfortunate, and Goodnight lucky to have gotten back to second in time.
Yeah. Also lucky to not be hurt on the play. I mean, she
was booking it too.
Yeah, she
I mean,
face planted. So Goodnight was thinking, I'm going to get a triple right here, and just got the wires crossed up and tripped herself. But still, that'll be a double, and Goodnight's 3 for 3 in the game. A leadoff double as Goodwin steps in, takes a big swing right there. I got to look back and see how many of Georgia's hits have come with 2 strikes. I think almost every single one.
If I had to guess, it's all of them. If not, 7 of the 8. It's been a lot.
That ball got away from Wesolowski, and Goodnight now will reach third base. It took her a little while, but she eventually gets to where she was trying to go.
A little longer than she expected, but.
And that ball just slips right out of the hand of Marin. Got to wipe a little dirt on the hand right there, get some of the sweat off. The count to Goodwin is now 2-2. Sharply hit ground ball past a diving Wallace. That'll drive in the run, and Georgia is taking control in the middle innings. They lead now 5-0.
Yeah, and like you said, Georgia getting most of their hits, if not all of them, with 2 strikes, of just they've swung the bat very well and have been smart with it throughout this game and capitalized, in just base hit after base hit has scored them runs today.
It brings up Kearney. Runner takes off for second. Throw is high. And diving into the bag safely, feet first, is Goodwin. She and Edwards almost collided. I think Goodwin took the brunt of that collision, but everyone seems to be okay. So Goodwin gets a stolen base after an RBI single. So she's on at second. Still no one out. Jada Kearney 1 for 2 this afternoon. Had an RBI single her last time up in the second. That's in there for a strike. Nicely done by Marin. And again, here we go. 1-2 the count.
Yeah, you start to wonder, too, as we get midway through this game, how long they're going to let Marin stay out there. I've been checking the bullpen from time to time, and Lexi Sosa has been out there, not consistently warming up, but she's been over there. It just feels like it's a matter of time before she gets the call.
It will be all hands on deck tomorrow, you would think, for both teams in terms of pitching. Ground ball, that is going to be foul, but not by much. Barbary diving to her right, could not get there in time.
Anthony, you mentioned it earlier, playing for seeding in the SEC tournament. Both these teams 11-11 in conference play. I mean, if they split these next two games, they both go 12-12, finish at 500. But if one team takes both of them, I don't want to say ruining the other team's season, but they're not at that 500 mark in SEC play.
And that does make a difference in the eyes of the committee most years when looking at who gets to host, or if you are hosting, are you a top 8 seed? If you have a losing record in conference play, more often than not, you're not going to be given the benefit of the doubt over a team that is at least 500 in the conference.
And, I mean, you look at projections right now. D1 softball is saying Georgia's the number 7 overall, and Mississippi State is sitting at that 2 seed in the Texas region. So, I mean, obviously that can all change with a couple of games here and then the SEC tournament, but there's still a lot to play out.
Georgia has got to win at least one game this weekend, or else they will all but certainly fall out of being a top 8. And they're in a good position to at least do that today with a 5-run lead at the moment here in the top of the 4th, with Kearney in a battle at the plate against Marin. Full count. Runner on at second base is Goodwin. And there's a walk. And that is the 3rd walk of the ball game. Marin has walked 2. She has walked 3 rather, and hit 2. So 5 free passes allowed. And now it looks like we're going to have a couple of changes. Looks like Georgia will put in a pinch hitter, and Mississippi State looks like they're going to change pitchers, as Georgia also puts in a pinch runner.
And put in some quality time, and kind of, this is one of those moments where you need her to come in and just keep the score where it's at and see if you can allow your offense to get in it.
The Bulldogs from Starkville trying to go up 2-0 on the weekend, but they're in a tight spot right here as the Georgia Bulldogs have scored in 3 of their first 4 at-bats and are trying to tack on more here in the 4th inning with no one out. Runner on at second. Mosley gives it a ride, but it's foul, and we'll do it again. 0-2 the count. Sosa has been a really good bullpen piece for State this season. Wasted one outside there, and the count's 1-2. Goodwin single, then stole second. There she is, standing at second base. Then Kearney drew a walk. Eaton is now pinch running for her at first base, with Mosley at the plate. Mosley 1 for 2, an RBI double in the first to drive in Georgia's first run of the ball game. She grounded out, though, to Barbary at third, her last time up in the second. Sharply hit ball. Wallace, double play opportunity after she catches the line drive, but diving back to the bag in time is Eaton. And the Bulldogs from Starkville get their first out recorded in the top of the 4th inning.
Yeah, nice little liner to Cat Wallace, is able to make the play, and good reaction time to try and make the double play at first, just not in time. Eaton able to realize what's going on and get back to first, but a great defensive play from Cat Wallace.
That ball just misses from Sosa. As Sidney Kuma steps up to the plate. 3rd time today that Kuma's been at the dish. Hits one deep to right field and off the top of the wall. Cook plays it off the wall. Stopping at 3rd is Goodwin. Goodwin and Eaton both had to kind of wait to see if Cook might catch up to it. And then Cook played it really well, Cody, off the wall. Georgia is unable to score, but they do load the bases.
I think we were all a little unsure of what was going to happen there, whether if it was going to be a home run there or if Paige Cook was going to catch it, and it turns out just to be a single. It looked like Cook was going to be able to make the play, but just gets over her head, and luckily enough for Mississippi State, no runs score, but bases are loaded.
So now Sosa, who just came into the ball game a few minutes ago, has a bases loaded, 1 out situation she has to get her team out of. And she'll face the Georgia catcher, Sarah Gordon, who is so far today 1 for 1, has been on base twice. Strike at the knees. So Kuma just got her first base hit of the ball game. Hit the ball to the wall, but only got a single out of it. Ground ball, gloved, flip to second. Get that throw to first in time. Double play. Mississippi State gets out of the inning. A beautiful 6-4-3 double play.
For bases to be loaded, and then just an incredible defensive play by the Bulldogs. Not only is it a missed opportunity to add a little bit of insurance, but it also feels like Mississippi State, you get a little bit of confidence after making a crazy play like that.
Cook leads off the home half of the 4th inning for State. Cook today is 1 for 1. Had a base hit her first time up in the 1st, and we haven't seen her since. That shows you how good Walters has been in the circle today for Georgia. She's been solid most of the year, but today she's been really on her game. Misses down and in with that one, and the count evens up at 1. Walters, 3 innings, 2 base hits, no runs, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. Both MSU hits have been singles. She drops that one in there for a strike. She's going to be able to now even the count, 2-2 on Cook. 35 hits on the year for Cook. Hits one right past the 3rd baseman, Mosley. Mosley was playing in a couple of feet at 3rd, and that ball just bounced right over the glove. And that should be scored, I would think, a base hit for Cook, who's back on at 1st.
Yeah, that 3rd base position area must be cursed today. We have seen a lot of plays for both Mosley and then Mississippi State's 3rd baseman Barbary where they just missed the ball over there right now. I'm not sure what it is, but it happens again, and hey, that's the way to swing momentum right now, especially after a big 4th inning.
That'll be scored, a fielding error, and watching back the replay, I can see why. The thinking there has to be it was a fairly routine play, but tough there for Mosley because that last hop was a weird, strange hop that just got right over the glove. And it brings up now Wesolowski. Can State get something going offensively? what's happening to them today is what they did to Georgia last night. The Bulldogs using a pinch runner in Bernie at first base. Bernie's been used often this year in these pinch running situations. Wesolowski, the freshman catcher for State at the plate. Drew a walk, her first time up today against Walters. Checks a swing and takes it up and in. And the count is now a hitter's count, 3-1 on Wesolowski. Wesolowski bounces one to second. The tag out will be called right there. And that was
not it's a way to get Georgia fired up.
So the tag out is recorded as Bernie's out at second base. And now Edwards sends one deep, but right to the center fielder Goodnight for out number 2.
And it's just been a tough day for Mississippi State hitting the ball. Shelby Walters has made it very, very hard, has only allowed 2 hits today, and every time Mississippi State can get some contact, the defense is there to make a play on it.
Aquana Brownlee steps up. She struck out looking her first time up. Still batting, though, .321 on the year. 18 hits in 56 at-bats. Hits one right at Armistead. So State gets the leadoff single from Cook, but can't taking in this top 20 battle between Georgia and Mississippi State. So far, the Athens Bulldogs have been in control. Sosa back in the circle for State. She'll face Davis, followed by Digby and Armistead, the bottom 3 in the Georgia order. He's Cody Blazak. I'm Anthony Craven. And that misses outside. The first 2 pitches to Davis have not missed by much. In between innings, the Georgia coaching staff again in the ear of our first base umpire, Robert Guest, trying to get clarification on what they thought should have been a double play in the earlier half inning. Ended up not making a difference, but certainly was an odd call that kept the inning alive. Lindy Ray Davis, 2 for 2 today. The junior having herself a really good afternoon, has upped the average now to 257. Ground ball over to second base, picked up by Hawkins, who's your new MSU second baseman, and thrown to first in time for the out. Hawkins at second, and Bernie has stayed in the game, replacing Cook in right field. So 2 defensive changes for State here in the top of the 5th.
Yeah, and you got to give credit to Kat Wallace, who started at second. I mean, ended her day on a wonderful double play throw from second to first. A big contribution to get him out of that inning, and through 4 innings, looked really solid.
Yeah, played really good defense there in the middle of State's infield. Georgia has Chambly at the plate, and she fouls one back for a strike. The crowd on top of the MSU dugout continues to grow.
Yeah, look at that.
I think someone's trying to ruin the fun now. Chambly, high fly ball, shielding the sun and making the catch is St. Clair in left for out number 1. Yeah, we had all the kids. Out number 2, excuse me. Davis a ground out, Chambly a fly out. Yep. Oh boy, all the kids are having a good time, and here came the fun police.
There are a couple getting away on the Georgia dugout that they're still safe right now.
That's right. Well, they're not getting too crazy over there yet. They're not drawing attention to themselves. Armistead, the batter. Boy, Sosa's done a good job so far. Now in an inning and 2/3, just 1 hit, no runs allowed. They've done a good job getting Georgia to hit into some routine outs. That's in there at the belt for a strike. So Davis grounded out, then Chambly, the pinch hitter, batting in place of Digby, flew out. No one on, 2 gone, top of the 5th inning. Chopper over to third, throw to first, nicely done by Sosa. A 3 up, 3 down, 5th inning. Start at second. And bat 8 in the lineup. So Hawkins will now step up for the first time in the ball game. Followed in the order by Jesse Blaine, who has picked up a bat in the on-deck circle. Looks like she'll hit for St. Clair. And then we'll see Sacco, the top of the order. So State trying to get a little better bat in the lineup here in the home half of the 5th inning as Hawkins hits one foul. It hit down in the batter's box, then also hit her before she took a few steps over towards first. Freshman who grew up in California, and then after, I'll finish that story here in a moment as Hawkins flies out to center and Goodnight makes the play, 1 gone. Hawkins grew up in California. Then after the COVID year, the high school she was at and the surrounding high schools shut down the spring sports. By next year, they still were not playing softball. So she and her family moved to the Phoenix area to find high schools where she could play. So she technically comes to Starkville from Phoenix, Arizona, but grew up in California.
It looks like it might have been the smart move. Feels like it's paying off right now. She's had a incredible start to her career at Mississippi State.
Jesse Blaine is the current batter right now for the Bulldogs from Starkville. 1-1 the count. Blaine has been used predominantly as a starter for State, either at catcher or DP. Hits one high, but right at Goodnight. Boy, Blaine got a good swing and good contact, but could not hit it over the head of Goodnight. There are now 2 gone.
Yeah, Goodnight just able to range back, take a couple steps backwards, and able to snag it for out number 2, and it feels like it's going to be another one of those quick innings for the Georgia Bulldogs.
Walters has handcuffed State today through 4 2/3 innings. Sacco hits a little lazy fly ball, ranging over and making the grab in left center is
the stat book, but she has just played lights out. I mean, pitched to a lot of contact and let her teammates behind her make plays, and has only allowed 2 hits. So she's doing her job, and Mississippi State just can't find a way to get on base. And That's why you see Georgia has a 5-0 lead.
Georgia trying to add to it right here. Top of the order, Goodnight, Goodwin, and Kearney. 1, 2, 3 to face Sosa. Ground ball over to Hawkins, flipped to first in time. Goodnight is retired for the first time today, and there's one away.
And that's about the first play that did not go Goodnight's way. I mean, coming into it 3 for 3, she recorded all 3 outs in the previous inning. Everything hit her way, made the play on it, and just it's been almost a perfect day for her.
Slow roller, Hawkins, fast throw. It will not be in time, and it rolls away from Kennedy. Goodwin, though, will stay put at first. A jam job, and Goodwin was able to sneak it past the circle. There really wasn't a whole lot Hawkins could do there on that grounder.
Yeah, just a tough play. Hawkins gets there quickly. Just an awkward throw, though, and tosses it into the dirt. Makes it tough for Madison Kennedy at first to make a play on, and can't come away with the out.
Georgia scored 5 runs in the first 4 innings, including 4 runs in the first 2 innings. And they are in control at the moment, leading 5-0 over Mississippi State. Runner at first base is Goodwin. There's 1 out, and Kearney is the batter. Kearney hits one over to right. Burney comes in, and the state right fielder makes the grab for out number 2. So Sosa did a really good job in relief for State. And now Fapito trying to pick up where she left off in the circle.
Yeah, and Sosa's done well in relief all season long. Not a whole lot of work, but when she has been able to get some opportunities, I mean, they've all been solid innings. You don't throw over 30 innings and have under a 2 ERA if you're not playing well. And just came out and did exactly what she's done all season long for the previous couple of innings.
Goodwin stole second base for Georgia, so now Georgia has a runner on in scoring position. The batter is Mosley. That ball is off the pitcher, out to Edwards, thrown to first in time.
And only 2 runs that she gave up. It's not like there were a ton of runs scored against her, but
that ball is fouled straight back into the stands for strike 1. Yeah, Backus was really good. I was going to say, any ball fouled straight back. We got the skylight wide open behind us. We've already had that happen to us once this year, where a foul ball goes straight through and lands in the back of the press box.
what are the odds?
So any ball hit back there today, I'm head on a swivel. Barbary leading off the inning, tried to check a swing but went around. And Backus strikes out the first batter she faces. 1 gone here in the home half of the 6th.
Take a look at it, just puts it down low and gets Barbary to bite. But back to Backus last night, I mean, she had 4 strikeouts, only 1 earned run, allowed 2 runs, but only 1 of them being earned, went 5 innings, and only threw 63 pitches. So it's not like she had a ton of work compared to Aspen Wesley, who, for granted, did throw all 7 innings, but 106 pitches. So a couple innings less, but not nearly as many pitches.
And today, Walters for Georgia only allowed 2 base hits against Mississippi State. So starting pitching, really pitching overall for Georgia, has been really, really good through 2 ball games, almost 2 full ball games. They just simply could not hit last night.
I mean, you can't get mad at your starting pitcher for going 5 innings and allowing 2 runs.
No, on the road, no.
Yeah, on the road, I mean, you'll take the loss.
That ball comes up and in and hits the left elbow of Madison Kennedy. She'll wear that one and take off for first. And now we're going to see Paige Cook put back in the lineup for State. And the rise ball from Backus just came up and in. Just kept rising. never broke back over the plate.
Just laughed it off and nothing to worry about.
State needs base runners and a lot of them, as Riley Hole will now run at first base. And Paige Cook, who had been subbed out of the ball game in favor of Bernie, is now back in so she can hit in the cleanup spot with Hole at first base. 1 out. That ball misses, ball 1. The wind is picked up and is now blowing hard out to left center field. Cook pops it up on the infield. Second baseman out there, and Kuma calls forward and makes the catch for out number 2. Hole remains on at first base for the moment as Ella Wesolowski now steps up. The right-handed hitting freshman catcher. Ground ball off the glove. Trying to flip it behind the back is Armistead, but she can't get it there in time. Would have been an amazing play if she had made it. But State now with 2 on base and 2 gone.
Yeah, we already saw a play similar from Mississippi State with Kylie Edwards, but wow, I don't even know what I would have said if she would have made that play, but just kind of awkward because Backus hits off her glove and threw off Armistead on reading that play and allows Wesolowski to reach and keep the inning alive.
And that's a bit of a hard luck play there for Georgia because honestly, if Backus lets it go, Armistead probably gets the ball and makes the play.
I don't want to say she almost still made a play, but it was a solid attempt, solid effort.
So 2 runners on for State, looking for that elusive 2-out base hit. Edwards hits 1-2 center field. Goodnight grabs it, and State will strand 2 more.
Really put it all out there, and in that first inning, they were able to get a couple of bounces to go their way, and everything just added up for them. And at the end of it, had 3 on the board, and ever since then, it just felt like they've controlled this game. The pitching has been outstanding, and they've continued to get on base, haven't brought as many in as maybe they would have liked to, but have controlled this game.
5 runs on 11 hits for Georgia. 1 error committed, but that error didn't hurt them any. Meanwhile, for Mississippi State, 0 runs on just 3 hits. They have played technically errorless defense, but there were some moments in early innings where State could have made a play and didn't, and Georgia made them pay for it. Sydney Kuma at the plate. The Georgia second baseman today, 1 for 2. Off speed, she'll bounce it foul into the State dugout, and the count is now full. And there's a walk issued by Fapito to lead off the top of the 7th inning. Matalasi Fapito began her collegiate career at New Mexico State. Has spent, though, the last couple of seasons playing in the SEC. Bunt laid down, a good one. Barbary throws to first, and that's the only out State can get right there on a really good sack bunt laid down by Sarah Gordon.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of nearly perfect bunts from Georgia today, and was able to execute this one, advance the base runner, and try and add a little bit of insurance on late.
Lindy Ray Davis steps in, the Georgia DP, with a runner on at second and just one out. Ball downstairs from Fapito, ball one. Kuma, the runner at second base. She drew a walk to lead off the inning. Snap throw to second, and State almost got Kuma napping. Well, Kuma just kind of casually jogged back to the bag there and almost got caught off.
And by the reaction of Hawkins, looked like she got it. We take a look at it.
Ooh.
She might have.
That's really close. That is really close. The Bulldogs have asked.
Tag was applied. The runner is out. This is Mississippi State's second challenge.
Wow. All right, one more time. The call is overturned, and Mississippi State gets Kuma off the bag at second on a pick play.
A great play from Hawkins to jump out there, snag the ball, and apply the tag, but a great throw from Wesolowski as well.
That's a heck of a throw from the freshman catcher. Freshman to freshman there. And they catch Kuma napping a little bit at second base. So that erases the base runner. And the count now on Davis is 2 balls and a strike. She lines one out to Barbary, and that'll end the inning. So Georgia can't do anything with a leadoff walk. I imagine it won't be St. Clair, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Brownlee, the Houston, Mississippi senior on senior weekend, trying to give her team a quality at bat right here in the 7th inning. Alongside Cody Blazak, I'm Anthony Craven. Great to have you with us here on a gorgeous Saturday afternoon in Starkville. Beautiful pitch there from Backus. And the count 0-2 on Brownlee, who is 0 for 2 today. Struck out back in the second and lined out in the 4th. Speaking of 4th, happy May the 4th to you, Cody.
For those of you that celebrate, that is.
May the 4th be with you all. It's also Derby Day. Got the Kentucky Derby going on later on this afternoon in Louisville, Kentucky.
You already had the Starkville Derby.
That's right. Whenever someone brings up the Derby, the one in Louisville, not the one in Starkville, I always think about, as Brownlee hits one little warm burner out towards second, Kuma flips to first in time, 1 down. I think about what the late great Bulldog football coach Mike Leach used to say about mint juleps, which is the traditional drink that you mix on Derby Day. He used to always say there's a reason why people only drink mint juleps on Derby Day. That's because they're terrible.
Sounds like something Mike Leach would have said.
True words from the legend himself. Hawkins at the plate, trying to get a rally going here for State. Swing and a miss. I'll tell you what, cannot say enough about the job done by Shelby Walters today. One of maybe her best starts of the season today.
Yeah, really just willed the way. I mean, 5 innings in the book for her, didn't allow a run, only a handful of hits. And I think the same goes for Backus as well. I mean, yeah, she got the loss yesterday, but only 2 runs, one of them earned. So, I mean, it was one of those days where the opposing pitcher was just a hair better than you, and that was the difference. But able to come back today, and as of right now, looks like they're going to deliver a win for Georgia.
Yeah, and that would force a rubber match on the final day of the regular season, with a lot at stake for both of these teams tomorrow afternoon.
A series that I'm sure both of these teams would love to have. Helps with seeding and all that good stuff.
Hawkins gives it a ride, but out to Goodwin in left for out number 2. So Hawkins did a good job to get the bat around fast. And now we're going to see Matalasi Fa'apito get an at-bat. We've already seen her in the circle as a reliever. Now we're going to see her as a hitter.
Now batting, number 34, Matalasi Fa'apito.
So Fa'apito, who has not hit yet today. There you see several members of her family out there beyond the outfield wall in center field. I lost count, but when they were doing the senior day ceremony pregame, you know, they have 7 seniors. Most of the seniors had their immediate family, parents, siblings. If they have a significant other, they were out there too, that kind of stuff. Then Fa'apito comes out with what looked like an entire family reunion going on.
There was a line of family. I mean, there was.
The receiving line was lengthy for the Fa'apitos.
Yeah, and I mean, they go out there and they have their jerseys framed and everything, and they take pictures with their family. There wasn't enough room in the spacing of the jerseys for her entire family.
They had to get everyone else out of the way and have it set up just for her. So cool to see the players who come from across the country when their entire families get to come out and support them, as Fa'apito gave it a ride, but just a hair out in front of it. So it's foul down there in the corner of left. 2-2 the count. I know it means a great deal to her to have so many family and friends who love her and support her be able to make the trip from out west to the southeast. Good take there by Fa'apito. Now the count's full. I think for a split second there, she thought it was ball 4. So a full count. Fa'apito trying to keep the inning alive. Hits one in the air, foul and out of play. Giving chase, but running out of room was Digby and Kuma. Georgia a strike away from winning the ball game in shutout fashion, 5-0. Fa'apito again. Good swing to fight off that pitch.
And a lengthy at bat for Fa'apito, just trying to extend this ball game. And I know there's already 2 outs, bottom of the 7th, but you extend it. I mean, just continue to extend. Anything's possible if you can keep extending the game. Put some runs on the board, and who knows what'll happen.
And again, Fa'apito fouls it back. Back is having a real tough time to get Fa'apito out. And if she does reach, then it does bring up Sacco and Barbary. The 3-2 delivery. And it drops in there, ball 4. Really good at bat by the senior Matalasi Fa'apito. And now we're going to see a pinch runner at first base, I would believe, as a celebration happens out there beyond the outfield fence.
I think that is a 10-pitch at bat for Fa'apito, and it pays off.
If nothing else, it keeps the inning alive, and the senior, who knows, that may have been her last home at bat, who knows? And if it is, it was a good one to help her own cause, as Kiara Sells now will run at first base. Here comes the top of the order for State, Sierra Sacco.
And not a terrible place to be for Mississippi State. At the top of that lineup, if you can get through a couple of them, things really start to get interesting, but just got to find a way to get on base. That's all that matters at this point.
Georgia still just 1 out away from earning the victory. Sacco back up there for the fifth time today. She's 1 for 3 so far. That ball misses inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Sells pinch running at first. Sacco had a single in the first, an infield single. Then a ground out in the third and a fly out in the fifth. That ball is going to be high, ball 3. Barbary in the on-deck circle if Sacco keeps the inning alive. Didn't have the green light there. You wouldn't think she would with the situation being what it is. And a good job by Backus to simply find the strike zone with a fastball. Now the strike count 3-1.
Yeah, and I think that Backus is just, I think she's in control. I mean, even though 2 walks, you still got to realize it's a 5-0 ball game with 1 out remaining for Georgia to end this. You're still in control, even though the fans are starting to get back into it. The Mississippi State dugout is getting into it. You're still in control as we get a meeting at the circle. Oh, you need 1 out. Yeah, you got to do some work to get there, but the pressure is still on Mississippi State. It's not on Georgia right now.
And she is still not giving State anything to hit so far.
And I mean, if you want to take the approach where she walks 1, I think 6 more batters would give you 5 runs. If that happens, I mean, it might be one of the most bizarre things we see, but yeah, all the pressure is on Mississippi State at the moment.
You saw that graphic on your screen a moment ago. The Bulldogs have scored over 40% of their runs this year with 2 outs. And they're in that situation right now with Barbary with Barbary at the plate, and the very first pitch, she will ground out to the third baseman Mosley.
Tag was applied. The runner is out. This is Mississippi State's second challenge.
Wow. All right, one more time. The call is overturned, and Mississippi State gets Kuma off the bag at second on a pick play.
A great play from Hawkins to jump out there, snag the ball, and apply the tag, but a great throw from Wesolowski as well.
That's a heck of a throw from the freshman catcher. Freshman to freshman there. And they catch Kuma napping a little bit at second base. So that erases the base runner. And the count now on Davis is 2 balls and a strike. She lines one out to Marbury, and that'll end the inning. So Georgia can't do anything with a leadoff walk